When I first clicked on MrBeast's video titled $1 vs $1 billion bunker, I already knew it was going to be insane. But I wasn't ready for how wild the very first bunker was. Jimmy, MrBeast, kicked things off by showing us the cheapest possible bunker, and honestly, it didn't even deserve the name. For just $1, what we got was basically a rusty old shipping container buried underground. The moment the camera panned inside, my jaw dropped. The walls were cracked, rusty, and dripping with water. The whole place looked like it could collapse at any second. MrBeast and his crew had to crawl inside with flashlights because the lighting was terrible. You could see the water stains all over the walls and muddy puddles forming on the floor. Chandler kept joking about whether the roof would give in while Carl looked like he was 2 seconds away from running back out. But that's the thing about MrBeast, he always pushes things to the extreme, even when it's uncomfortable. They tried spending a bit of time in the container, showing us how impossible it would be to actually survive in a bunker like that. The air felt damp, claustrophobic, and unsafe. At one point, Chris pretended the walls were closing in, and everyone cracked up, but honestly, the place did feel like a horror movie set. The coolest part of this section wasn't the container itself but the way MrBeast used it to set the tone. By starting with the worst possible bunker, he made us excited for the upgrades to come. It was the perfect contrast. If this was what $1 got you, what in the world would a $1 billion bunker look like? Still, there was a strange kind of thrill watching them explore the $1 bunker. It was raw, dangerous, and had this eerie atmosphere that made you imagine a real survival scenario. If the world ended tomorrow, would you even last one night in this container? Probably no. That was Jimmy's point. Survival isn't just about hiding underground, it's about how prepared your space really is. By the end of this segment, the crew had seen enough. Chandler was covered in mud, Carl was begging for sunlight, and Chris was making dramatic coughs about the toxic air. MrBeast laughed, declared it the worst bunker experience ever, and moved us straight to the next level, and that's where things started to get seriously epic. When MrBeast said we were going from a $1 bunker to a $1 million bunker, I didn't expect the jump to be this massive. From the second the camera cut to this location, I could tell we were entering a whole new world. The first thing they showed was a 7,000-pound steel blast door, and I swear, it looked like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. It took several people just to move it open. Once inside, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. This bunker had a full-blown command center with glowing red lights, computer stations, and thick concrete walls designed to withstand nuclear strikes. Jimmy compared it to something out of Star Wars, and he was absolutely right. The place looked like the control room of a Death Star or some top-secret military base. The craziest feature? A room where the floor was suspended by massive springs. If there was an explosion or shockwave, the springs would absorb the impact instead of letting it destroy the bunker. Carl jumped up and down on it like a trampoline, and it was hilarious seeing him bounce while Chris pretended to trigger alarms. The crew explored deeper, revealing tunnels, living quarters, and storage areas. Unlike the $1 disaster, this bunker was designed to keep people alive long-term. It had proper air filtration, secure walls, and spaces that felt futuristic. Still, there was something intimidating about the red glow of the lights. It gave the whole place this military, no-nonsense vibe. What I loved most about this part was seeing the crew's reactions. Chandler, who was clearly traumatized by the $1 bunker, actually seemed impressed here. Carl kept calling it a villain lair, while Chris kept saying, "This is where they hide aliens." MrBeast was cracking up but also making sure we understood how advanced the bunker really was. Watching this section made me think about how governments or billionaires might actually live underground in case of a disaster. It wasn't just a room, it was a fortress. And this was just the $1 million version. What else could possibly be coming? By the time they left the missile bunker, I was completely hooked. If this was only the second step, I couldn't even imagine what a multi-million-dollar backyard bunker or a billion-dollar mountain fortress was going to look like. The third bunker was where things started to get creative, and honestly a little crazy. MrBeast introduced it as a $3 million backyard bunker, and at first, it looked innocent enough. From above ground, it was just a regular shed sitting in someone's yard. But once they opened the shed and revealed the staircase leading down, it felt like something out of a spy movie. The inside was insane. Instead of military vibes, this bunker was designed like an inventor's lair. The crew found all kinds of over-the-top weapons and gadgets. The standout was a flamethrower backpack that actually worked. Chris strapped it on and immediately turned into a kid at Christmas, blasting fire, safely, across a concrete wall. Chandler kept yelling, "This is not safe," but also couldn't stop laughing. Then came the chainsaw machine gun. Yes, you read that right. It was like a hybrid contraption straight out of a video game. Carl pretended to go full action hero mode with it, while Jimmy kept pointing out how impractical, but insanely cool, it was. The bunker also had hidden tunnels leading into different chambers, giving it that secret base vibe, but what struck me most was how different this bunker felt compared to the others. The $1 container was depressing, the $1 million bunker was serious and military grade, but this $3 million bunker was playful, eccentric, and fun. It was built for someone who wanted to survive in style while also testing out crazy inventions. At one point, MrBeast asked if they'd actually want to live there, and Carl immediately said yes, but only if he got to keep the flamethrower. Chandler shook his head and said he'd probably burn the place down in one day. The energy in this section was pure chaos, and that's what made it so entertaining. It wasn't just survival, it was survival with flair. Watching them test out ridiculous gear inside an underground lair made me think. If the apocalypse ever happens, this is the bunker I want. But as wild as this was, Jimmy made sure to remind us, this was still small compared to what was coming next. When Jimmy announced the next bunker cost $30 million, I thought it was going to be just a bigger version of the missile bunker. But nope, this wasn't just a bunker. It was an underground skyscraper, 15 floors deep. Fully self-sustaining. A literal city built underground. From the moment they showed the blueprint, I couldn't believe my eyes. The elevator ride alone was like descending into a sci-fi megastructure. Each floor had a specific purpose, and it blew my mind how detailed everything was. There was a grocery store, a hospital, living spaces, hydroponic farms glowing green with artificial light, a gym, and even a swimming pool. This wasn't survival. This was luxury survival. The crew had the best reactions here. Chandler was instantly drawn to the grocery store section, grabbing snacks like it was his last day on Earth. Carl kept raving about the hydroponic gardens, saying it looked like something from The Martian. Chris was stunned by the hospital setup, joking about how it probably had better healthcare than his actual town, but the most jaw-dropping part was the design. Every floor had sleek architecture, glowing lights, and futuristic equipment. MrBeast explained that this bunker could house hundreds of people for years without ever needing to come back to the surface. The farms would grow food, the air systems would recycle oxygen, and the underground power supply would keep everything running. For me, this was the moment the video went from entertaining to absolutely mind-blowing. It wasn't just about survival anymore, it was about building an entirely new world beneath the surface. If humanity ever had to hide from a nuclear disaster, this bunker could actually keep civilization alive. The energy in this section was pure excitement mixed with disbelief. MrBeast and the crew explored the gym, swam in the pool, and tried out the different rooms like kids in a candy shop. At one point, Carl joked about moving in permanently, and honestly, I don't blame him, but Jimmy kept hyping us up by saying, "If you think this is crazy, wait until you see the $1 billion bunker." And at that point, I was practically screaming at my screen, show it already. And then it happened. The reveal of the $1 billion bunker, the crown jewel of the entire video. The camera opened on a massive granite mountain, with gigantic blast-proof doors carved into its side. Just looking at it gave me chills. This wasn't just a bunker. It was a military fortress, a government-level stronghold designed to survive anything the world could throw at it. Inside, it was even more jaw-dropping. The tunnels stretched for miles, wide enough to drive trucks through. There were underground highways, giant lakes, and endless command centers filled with glowing monitors. MrBeast compared it to a whole underground city, and he wasn't exaggerating. This bunker wasn't just about surviving, it was about continuing society itself. It was built to house the most important people in the country, from military leaders to scientists, and even had Space Force insignias marking some of the chambers. Seeing that, I realized this wasn't just a fantasy. This was real. The crew was completely speechless. Chandler kept whispering, "No way," every 5 seconds. Carl was spinning around, trying to take in the scale of it. Chris just kept repeating, "We are literally in a James Bond movie." And Jimmy, true to form, kept pointing out every insane detail, from radiation-proof walls to massive food storage systems. The deeper they went, the more unbelievable it got. An entire underground power plant. Dormitories that looked like hotel rooms. Secure communication centers that could run even if the surface world was destroyed. The whole place felt surreal, like stepping into a science fiction future. By the end, MrBeast summed it up perfectly. From $1 to $1 billion, the journey showed just how far human survival technology can go. Watching it unfold as a fan, I felt like I'd just been taken on the wildest tour imaginable, from a muddy container to an underground empire. It wasn't just a video. It was an adventure. And it reminded me why MrBeast is the king of YouTube, because no one else can make you feel this level of excitement, curiosity, and more in just one upload.